Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Miller. So who am I? I'm a software engineer. I've lived in Ottawa most of my life. My parents were both military, so I moved around a little bit as a kid. My folks both came off of farms. They both joined the Air Force to get away from the horse shit when they were 18. They met and we got married in Europe. We moved back to Canada. Along came my siblings and I, but I've lived in Ottawa for most of my time since then. Educated at Carleton, software engineering, so I've been a 30-year career working, fortunate enough to work right here. B&R, Nortel, QNX, Innovance, which is a very exciting optical startup, Cisco, a couple of other places. I've got 3 kids. Ages are 22. My oldest daughter is just finishing her own engineering program, and next month I get to give her her iron ring. I'm very excited about that. My middle son was born with Down syndrome, which, okay, we could deal with. Then later he developed autism. A couple of years ago we learned to use celiac disease. So he keeps exciting us. He's 16, he's nonverbal, and he's going to be with us for a while. But he's a good kid. My youngest one, we thought that was trouble. My youngest one was worse because she was born at 26 weeks. So she spent about 4 months in the NICU. We got to know that place pretty well, and she's a feisty one, which is why she's alive now. She wants to go into space. So I got in trouble last time because I said if she wanted to go into mechanical engineering. She said, no, Dad, aeronautical engineering. So I'll try not to make that mistake. But as I also said, a few years ago, she wanted to grow up to be a penguin, so you never know. As a family, we ride roller coasters. That's what we do. We drive thousands of kilometers every year. Most years go all over the place to ride the biggest, fastest, scariest coasters. My little guy is the biggest ear-to-ear grin. He's on the front seat of a 100-mile-an-hour coaster. There's nothing like it. So what do I do in the community? Most of my volunteer work, mostly in North Canada, is I take my kids to all the activities. I'm not one to drop them off. I've never been one, so I end up being a t-ball coach and a soccer coach. Work with boating with the Otter River Canoe Club for the last couple of years. My daughters were in dance for years, so I ended up just shooting pictures. So I've done an awful lot of photography. That's probably my main hobby. I recently started teaching guitar to a special needs group. In the special needs community, you run into families over and over again. Somebody earlier this year in Dunrobin said, hey, we're looking for somebody to teach guitar. I said, I can teach guitar. The nice thing about that is you don't have to know a lot. You just have to know something somebody else doesn't. So we can teach that trick. So that's very rewarding to run a small group. Special Olympics skating out in Goulburn Arena. My son's been skating there for years. I can barely skate myself, but I can skate around, encourage the kids, pick them up, help them. The real teachers are there to teach them how to do the real skating things. And scouts. I've been a scout leader. Again, took my son there. I've been a scout leader for many years. I'm going to have to bring the scout troop on Thursday. They keep having these events Thursday nights, so I've had to miss a couple of meetings. So my solution is to bring them this coming Thursday. So I have a cheering section for about half an hour, and then they get a little random. So I've been completely, more or less apolitical. I've never been involved in politics before. So what happened? Well, when Max Bernier split from the Conservatives, I thought, well, that's kind of too bad. And then I looked at his platform, the things he stood for, and I said, well, these are all the things I believe in these things. Line by line. I like his ideas. And so I joined the party. It helped that it was free for a limited time, so I said, okay, I stepped in under the wire and I joined the party. Then they came around and they were beating the bushes for a candidate, and I said, well, actually, the day we came back from a roller coaster trip, 9 o'clock at night on the deadline, and I said, maybe I should put my name in the hat. So I was surprised to find out mine was the only name in the hat. So here I am. And I thought, am I up to it? Well, we'll see. So here I am. So we'll give it a go. So what did I like about the platform, about Max Bernier's platform, is it puts Canada first in every category across the board. It's an old-fashioned approach to debt. Let's get rid of it. Let's not run a deficit. If you run a deficit in the good times, which we've had good times thanks to you-know-who in the States, the biggest economic boom we've had for years, we're riding in their coattails and things have been good. But if you spend more than you make, then you're stuck. You're in real trouble when things do turn bad. And there are some indications that trouble is coming. As I said, old-fashioned that way. If you know the modern monetary theory, you may have heard that, which is a bunch of theories around why you can spend money forever. And if that takes hold, I want my $1 million check, because we're all good to go. We'll have a hell of a party for a little while. So the PPC platform is no corporate subsidies, no corporate handouts, no foreign aid till we get Canada sorted out. We've made deals with our veterans already. We need to honor those deals. We have issues with Aboriginal communities. They need a lot of work. We need to take care of our own people before we go throwing money around the world to try and buy favor with the UN. We're going to Max has a plan to revisit the Indian Act. One of the reasons there's so much poverty on many of these reservations is there's no economy there. People have, it's the only place they can get their treaty rights is sitting in a reservation. There's nothing there to do, there's no jobs, nothing to do but watch TV all day. That's not a very good deal for anybody. So we'll have to revisit that using, probably, from what I understand, I haven't read it in detail, Jean Chrétien's 1969 plan to revisit the Indian Act. It's still there, and from what I've read about it, it wasn't a bad plan. We want to eliminate dairy quotas. I tell people it's not a great campaign slogan. I'm going to save you a nickel in a glass of milk. But it adds up to billions every year. And the dairy farmers who benefit from the subsidy they're the wealthy ones. They're the big farms. 2 minutes left, okay. Oh man, okay. Where was I? So that was actually the signature issue. That's what caused Max to leave the Conservative Party in the first place. And I think it's a good issue. In fact, my family was dairy farmers. And they're not doing it now because of milk quotas. So there's a personal element there. Immigration's a big part of Max's platform. It's one thing that very differentiates us from the other parties. Economic immigrants, good. Non-economic immigrants, not just now. So, but we're the only party to say we're going to turn the dial down on immigration. When last year I saw tent cities in the Olympic Stadium, we saw tent cities in Cornwall, we see the government buying hotels in Ottawa and Toronto and Montreal, the stuff full of people. There's something wrong here. We're exceeding our capacity to handle these people. So we need to dial that down a little. Economic immigrants, by definition, are